You've seen it, you've heard it. And Lions fans are already building a statue if it happens. Tonight we break down if this rumor's legit or if there's off-season smoke. What would it actually cost Detroit? And would a Maxx Crosby and an Aiden Hutchinson pass rush be unfair to the rest of the NFL? Well, drop your trade packages in the chat right now. Picks, players, all of it, because we're going to read the best ones live. Hit the button on the way, share the stream. Let's talk Maxx Crosby to the Detroit Lions. Like and subscribe. This is the Fan Forum. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I don't even know if it would be fair. I think that's where we start at, right? I also want to mention there will be a guest appearance by Mr. Hermdo. He will be joining us shortly. Thank you for joining, by the way. You've seen it right now. This is that time of the year where every sports fan, especially NFL team, is got their complete and what other perfect offseason package. Well, ladies and gentlemen, ours starts with Maxx Crosby being traded to the Detroit Lions. Now, I know it's pretty unrealistic, but is it? Is this not the perfect season to just go all in and go at a player who is sick of being through, I think this would be his fourth rebuild with the Raiders, coming to a team that he openly said in an interview, this is if I could get traded anywhere, would be Detroit. This is kind of like the reverse Stafford trade. Is this not? Right? Does this not say, hey, the Raiders do a good solid by saying, Crosby, where do you want to go? Right? And he says, take me to Detroit. And we give them a bevy of picks because at this point, Lions fans, are you not tempted to say, I don't give a shit, all in for the Super Bowl, right? Fuck the picks. F the picks, sorry. So I'm telling you right now. All right, we got the dude. Oh, look at you. That was quick. He says he can't find anything on it. Well, that's because I'm breaking the news, buddy. I'm the first one to tell you that this is a possibility. And with that being said, we have somebody very near and dear to this channel coming live into the chat is Hermdo. Hermdo.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How are we doing, Mr. Hermdo?
I'm loving life, having fun, doing all the good stuff.
Good.
What's up with you?
You know what? I'm glad to see you're back in your studio with your
yes.
your look, your appeal. You're feeling healthier. You're not in bed sick, blowing your nose. But we appreciate you joining us when you did, though. That was
pretty gross.
That was dedication, though, dude.
Yeah. Oh Lord, I love the process too much. I love the show business too much. I can't stay away from it no matter how sick I feel. But I'm feeling better now. Still a little, not 100% yet, but it's all good.
Well,
just a possibility. How dare you excite us like that? Oh,
listen.
I don't know what that's in reference to.
So I broke some news and I titled this episode, right, Maxx Crosby to the Lions, right? And with the concept of, all right, it's the beginning of the NFL offseason. If there is ever one perfect all-in Super Bowl option, would this not be it? Would this not be the right time? Would this not be almost the reverse Stafford trade where we go and we say, all right, we gave Stafford up. We sacrificed the next couple of years to let Stafford win a Super Bowl in L.A. Now we get the reverse. Yeah. We give up a bevy of picks because at this point, Brad Holmes nails all his draft picks. So if you want to give up the next 2 first rounders for the next 2 years, just do some overall haul like the Rams did. Do it. Give it to Vegas. That's a team that who gives a shit? They're going to screw it up anyways. So
yep.
That's where my head's at right now because it's a realistic option.
Yeah, I think so too. They just, if I'm not mistaken, they let go of Geno Smith, so they got a ton of cap space. I think they're looking to dump salary right now. I think, Maxx Crosby, you hear a lot of rumors, hear a lot of conjecture. I'm looking at some of the some of the articles about him right now, and some people say there's Philadelphia's involved, Patriots are involved. I'm not sure what's going on with
of course,
the Lions as far as that's concerned. Too. Yeah, a lot of teams are involved. Obviously, Maxx Crosby is one of the best edge rushers in the league. But
let's keep this. We'll draw the parallel to the Stafford situation. It gets to the point where he got to say where he wanted to go, right? And that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah,
Maxx Crosby, if he gets to say where he wants to go, it's going to be Detroit, and we already know that would be unfair for the NFL. My point would just be this would be the perfect rebound back from that Stafford trade. And look at Vegas. They're getting Mendoza. They're drafting him as QB1. There's no brainer about that. This will be his team. Now it's going to be the Tom Brady-led Las Vegas Raiders with $93 million in cap space. Go out and trade, get rid of Maxx Crosby, send him to Detroit.
Yeah.
We give you that dumpster of picks on top of the dumpster of picks you already have in the dumpster of money, and just go out and squander and pay, overpay a bunch of, fat old players like you always do and just waste it away.
Right.
It's win-win.
I think so too. That's a good scenario for me. I mean, I think, getting a Maxx Crosby, that obviously makes you Super Bowl contenders like that, I think that would be like the smart move for the Lions to do. Obviously, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, kind of thing. I mean, they got the, they can fit him in on the team. They got the space. They got the picks. They can get this done. There's been some mutual interest between parties and whatnot. So, but yeah, as far as like the Matt Stafford thing is concerned, like, yeah, this could be, obviously that big trade, the Stafford for Goff trade, was a boon for both teams. Lions, had incredible success after acquiring Goff. And, we know what happened with the Rams. Obviously Stafford gets to a Super Bowl, but yeah, this could be another big move for the Lions. At that, I mean, I can't think of anybody in Detroit that wouldn't want this trade to go down. We've been thirsting over Maxx Crosby. I mean, there were some rumors last year too. People were going crazy about it. Having somebody opposite Hutch that isn't permanently injured all the time, doesn't spend half the season on the IL. It's having somebody that can pick up the pace and help Hutch out and draw some double teams and whatnot, and just really confuse the offensive lines of other teams. But yeah, that sounds like a win-win to me, man. I mean, and I think if you want to get the stink of last season off of you,
exactly,
this is the kind of move you got to make. This is the kind of move that this will get. Yeah, for a lot of Lions fans are kind of on the fence right now. You and I, we've been watching this shit for our whole lives. But some Lions fans, they kind of new to the fold. They see Lions having some success. They have a down season. They're a little bit concerned now. A lot of rumors and innuendo and speculation about Brad Holmes and the job he's doing and whatnot, like our good buddy the Dew. But
yeah, he hates Brad Holmes.
Yeah, I think this would really.
Brad Holmes.
I know. Well, he's allowed to have his opinion. But anyways, yeah, this would be a move that would definitely resonate hugely with fans. This would make Lions probably the best team in the NFC, and barring other moves, barring the draft, barring other trades, barring whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think the Lions, the Tigers went out and they added some big pieces. It's time for the Lions to take advantage of free agency. I mean, I don't want the Tigers to be the only game on the block.
This will be the year for Brad Holmes to identify himself as an absolute juggernaut in free agency. He's already done it in the draft.
Yep.
He's kind of been a mediocre in free agency. The last year was, I guess, pretty awful, but or just lack thereof. But you're right, Hermdo. This is it. This is the time. This is when you get a guy.
This is a move you got to make.
Yeah, this is when you go all in for a ring. And the
Absolutely.
first year that we were chasing that Super Bowl and our window was open and we went to the NFC, hard to say that you go, oh, yeah, we're just going to trade it all in. We weren't in that position yet. We have the foundation. We have the core. We have the face of the team, the multiple faces of the team, right? On all levels. So to me, you do this. You go out and you get a guy like Maxx Crosby from a disgruntled position of being in the Raiders. And to think to myself, why would you want to stay there? Why wouldn't you want to get traded, right? You really want to go through another rebuild? We know this team is never going to get anywhere serious. They're just going to get retreads. And I feel bad because Mendoza, I feel like, is destined to be a great NFL quarterback just by how little quarterbacks of his skill set have come out in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So this isn't the early 2000s where they're a dime a dozen, but it's interesting, right? Everyone wins on this one. It really does.
Yes.
They really do.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be, I mean, just imagine like what this team would look like with a guy like Crosby on there. And, I think, I mean, like to go back to the Matt Stafford thing, do you really want to go, if you're Maxx Crosby, you're 28, you're getting close to 30, and you're still one of the prime players, top 5 defensive player, but it's just like, do you really want to waste another 3-4 years of your prime on the Raiders after they're going through another regime change, after they're bringing in another coach, after they're cutting, the quarterback, after they're making all these moves again? It was the same thing with, Matt Stafford. He was 12 years into the league. He was wasting his prime with the Lions. He's just like, I'm not doing this anymore. You guys got to get rid of me. So,
and it worked.
And that was beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was beneficial. I think it could be beneficial for Maxx Crosby to come here. I mean, I'm sure he's got deep ties with Vegas and whatnot. He's been in the team a while, but it's just one of those things. It's time for a change of scenery. It's time for Max to come to Detroit and get a ring. That's how I feel.
I do too. I mean, it's that perfect wide 9 defense of that lineup that we were talking about the last couple of weeks that we used to have with Big Sports. We just finished the season ranked 18th in total defense and 22nd in points allowed. I mean, we need this, right? We have the roster to on the offensive side, right? And we know what pieces we have on the defensive side, but this is just firepower that if you want to play with the Phillies, if you want to play with the New Yorks, or if you want to play with the Kansas Cities, who have these historically solid pass rushes that have taken them to Super Bowls, this is what you have to do, man. Kansas City knew they had to sack up and start going out and getting big names and paying guys to continue that Super Bowl trend. And once they stopped doing that, once they took their fucking foot off the gas, look where they're at. They missed the playoffs, right? So in the NFL, dude, if you want to close in on that year, you have to be vicious about doing so. Philly did it the year that they won the Super Bowl. They made no ifs, ands, or buts that they were determined to be the best defense. And I will say Seattle quietly did do what we saw them do, but I think they were I would say they have a history of being a great defense. So it's kind of like they just got quietly back up to the bar that they had already put up there for themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would be really pissed if he goes anywhere else. I can tell you that. If this trade does happen, if he leaves Vegas and he ends up with Dallas or the Patriots or the Buccaneers or the Jaguars, I'll just be pissed, dude. I really will.
Yeah. Yeah, Lions gotta. I mean, we really need that. This is the thing that absolutely needs to happen. Obviously, it'd be a huge win for the Lions. But Brad Holmes, like we talked about, we've been mentioning this for weeks and weeks. But it's just the guy has to come and be aggressive in free agency. You can't just sit on your hands and not do anything. You can't just buy your own hype. You got to go out and make some moves. You got to stop huffing farts, and you got to get out there and get aggressive. Yes. Other teams are getting aggressive. This is the time, after a down season, you still got a good core. You still got a good coach. You still got a lot of players in their primes. This is the time to do it. You go over the top, fuck the draft picks. We're in win now mode. I think that's it. I mean, if people think the window's closing, I say Maxx Crosby, that you put a brick in the window, and that'll stop that for right now. So, yeah, that's definitely that's the move to make, to me. Obviously.
I agree, and that's a good way to put it. We're in win now mode, and you have to get in win now mode mindset. And obviously, I think they took the offensive coordinator situation serious. It seems like everything I'm
Yeah.
seeing now that I get to see Drew Petzig's interviews is he just kind of is quietly like a Ben Johnson, where he's just going to go do a really good job at being a offensive guru nerd type of guy. Like
Yeah.
that's just kind of what he seems like. Perfect. And I just I feel like the pressure's off of that now. So that rights that ship for a little bit. Um, as long as everybody stays healthy in the offensive side of the ball, I don't really think we need to focus, right? We're getting Sam Laporta back. That is going to be so big,
Yeah.
right? It seems like Montgomery is back to being happy about being a Lion, and they like each other, and this seems to work out. So I think the two-headed Sonic Knuckle thing, I think we're safe there. And from an offensive line perspective, I think we're at the draft. I think I texted you this, but watch the Lions. They will their first two picks will be offensive tackles. I just think it's one of those.
I think so,
and it's going to be a healthy group of guys to pick from, which is a great year to do it. It's kind of like when we got Penny, where it's kind of like, okay, it's not flashy, but this is going to pay off. And that's going to be this draft. Expect that. And then on the back end of the draft, we can talk about where we want to go. But, dude, you give all this gas into this Crosby trade, the rest of that falls into place. And I think everybody's really happy.
I think so, too. That's the move you got to make, baby. That's the move you got to make.
Right.
Yeah, he's... I think he's a bit. It seems like he would be acclimated to Detroit culture. He seems to be a guy that the fans would really love. He seems to be a guy that eats, sleeps, and breathes football. He's a nut job, kind of like Hutch.
He's from here.
He's kind of a wild man. But yeah, people would love him in Detroit.
Another hometown guy, played at Eastern Michigan.
Yeah. Yep. It would be a guy. He'd fit right into the culture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everybody. And that's how the Stafford thing was. Stafford was a perfect Zach Morris to go out there and find his AC Slater. And they had AC Slater and Aaron Donald, but they needed a Zach Morris, and they went out and got Stafford. And Stafford has been perfect for LA, which I think is awesome. And he won the MVP, so congrats. I know him and Kelly does not watch our podcast. Hitch and Kelly do not get along, and we lost that part of the Stafford support early on in the podcast, thanks to Hitch. But I believe he'll be joining us shortly. So just stick around, ladies.
Okay.
He'll be coming.
That'd be a hell of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. So I feel like I blew it out there. Actually, I reached out to John, his brother, who was on a horror podcast, and I said, "You need to come."
I saw that on Facebook. Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you want me to talk about sports for?" I'm like, "No, you don't have to talk about sports. Just come on and talk about being John. We
just want to talk to you, Johnny."
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be about sports. We just happen to be sports people. But I'm wearing a wrestling shirt, and I'm sure something behind in Hermdo is completely different, unrelated to sports behind him. So we're just.
I still got I have many interests and hobbies we can discuss.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Yes.
John. So, anyways, So back on track. I think this is also a product, though, Hermdo, of it being February, and every NFL team kind of has their wish list that they're checking off right now, and their offseason plan.
Yeah. Right.
Is that just me being a little too presumptuous? Or, I mean, there are rumors out there right now, but who knows, right?
Who knows? Right now, I mean, it's the time. We got a couple months to the draft. This is kind of the dead period for the NFL. There's some rumors and speculation going on out there, but I think the Lions' needs are pretty obvious. But other teams, but it's going to be competitive. I mean, that's just the way it is. Lions got to watch their asses. I mean, they're going to have they could really do something pretty cool in free agency, and I think it'll be a good draft for them. I'm still trusting this regime for the most part, but it's going to be competitive, though. I mean, you're going to have to act quick. You're going to have to act fast, and if you really want to, you have to really You don't want to think like the 2023 and 2024 were like flukes. You want to think that's the new team, that's the new identity.
I'd like
you got to go out there, you got to live it, you got to breathe it, live it. And that includes being aggressive in free agency. That includes making smart draft picks. That includes bringing in good staffers and taking the issues and the problems seriously. So yeah, I mean, maybe we have to light a little bit of a fire under Brad Holmes' ass, but I think it'll work out in the end. I feel positive about the Lions, but yeah, we'll see what happens going forward.
Not worth a Hermdo guarantee, but I don't think you want a Hermdo guarantee this one.
No, I don't. I'm going to get in trouble for some of my Hermdo guarantees one of these days. I'm going to guarantee the wrong thing. I'm going to get canceled.
It's okay. All 354 of our subscribers on YouTube are uncancelable. Half of them are Bob Such anyway. So, and then two of them are Alex Trotter that come and go.
Yes, good old Alex. Good old Alex.
I hope you're watching, Alex. How
me too. Say hello. And join us in our chat.
And hello to my sister out there too, if she's watching. I don't know. Sometimes she's watching us live.
Oh.
Give a shout.
None of my family watch this. They all hate me.
It's okay.
They all say, Hermdo, you're a failure.
Hermdo.
They all say, you're never going to be a famous sports broadcaster, Hermdo. Give it up. They call me Hermdo, so.
That's exact. It's actually on his birth certificate. Tom was his nickname.
Yes.
I'm looking at a little history though of Brad Holmes' free agency, right? Because we do beat the shit out of him, and it really looked somewhat decent when he first got here, and I really think it states on where he was at in each year's approach. So I took a chance to summarize this really quick. So you got 2021. They call that the foundation and the culture reset, right? So first off season equals roster teardown, plus you kind of setting that locker room tone. You got Romeo Okwara, Charles Harris, Jamar Williams, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds. A lot of short deals, a lot of culture guys. No big splashes, and they cleaned up a lot of cap that year. So, Khalif Raymond obviously still with the team. We've talked about Jamal Williams. Some of those guys were a key part of that culture. Now you got 2022. You got trenches and secondary fix. Roster starting to stabilize, kind of targeting some upgrades. This is when we got real excited. DJ Shark, Mike Hughes, Deshaun Elliott, Alex Anzalone, re-signed him. Evan Brown. A lot of prove-it, bargain hunting dogs. Then comes 2023. First aggressive wave. And this was the year, right? This is the year where Hitch bared it all on TV. This is where a lot of major things happened, right? This is where we found out COVID wasn't real. Officially. Key Lions were coming off a 9-8 season, right? Holmes kind of spends his money smartly. He brings in Cam Sutton. Ooh, that was a nice one at the time. Emmanuel Mosley, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, David Montgomery, Graham Glasgow. That was like a fucking, okay. So Brad Holmes is so far not terrible in free agency, right? These aren't just like blown up moves.
Solid moves.
Solid moves, right? So to a guy like the Dew, I don't know where you're getting all hot and bothered at this point. Now 2024, we call this the contender fine tuning. So this is after the NFC Championship run. It was more of strategic retention and selective ads. You have Jonah Jackson, Graham Glasgow, Marcus Davenport. Oh, there's where we start dinging that bell.
Oof.
And Amik Robertson, who we really like. I know we do. So then it just comes down to 2025. And I know this is where people were pissed because it wasn't names. It was major extensions. That's what we were doing. Right? We extended and Goff, St. Brown, Penny, and Aleem McNeil. So it was basically a pay the core and draft the rest strategy. And I
Yeah.
think that's what pissed people off is you have a Marcus Davenport year in free agency and you follow it up with going completely away from free agency and paying the core and going right to the draft. So it's almost like 2025 there wasn't really a free agent strategy. So for bandwagon fans like the do who don't really pay attention to Brad Holmes' overall scheme, I don't really think you can say he's bad in free agency. I can just think the last year really wasn't a free agency focused blueprint.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. A lot of solid moves in there. The Davenport thing kind of didn't work out. People were pissed off about the Zadarius Smith thing. Obviously, he kind of dodged a bullet there. Khalif Raymond's been a solid impact guy. Alex Anzalone's probably, I think Alex Anzalone is going to be, pretty much gone. I think it's pretty much a guarantee, but he was a real solid player for us for a while, real good linebacker. And just right now, I mean, you kind of see the lack of action. I mean, I'd see I think Brad Holmes' free agent strategy is solid, if not good, but it's it's now it's like I think it's a time to kind of move beyond and kind of take those next steps and kind of it's time to bring in some big guys. You're gonna need a couple plus players. You're gonna need some top 10 guys on this team. It's time to be, you gotta be a little aggressive. You gotta, because you kind of fell off a bit last year. Like I feel like I'm kind of just repeating what I'm saying before, but this is what you got to do. You're kind of teetering a little bit. You don't want to come out next season flat-footed. You want to give the fans something to be excited about. Now you can, the high from the 2023 and 2024 seasons is kind of fading a little bit, and you're gonna have to get people re-engaged again. You're gonna have to get people. You're gonna have to send a message that this is not a fluke team. Our window is still open. We're still committed to winning. This is the offseason to do that. I think this is where you got to make some big moves.
Well, and you got to think too. What we talked about each offseason had its own strategy, right? Because he came and took this team over and like ripped it apart from it being an absolute 50-year shithole. So, if you were to project a 2026 free agency for Brad Holmes, it would probably be pay the core and patch the weak spots, right?
Yeah.
So his first priority isn't going to be shopping, which I don't think Maxx Crosby is considered shopping. I think that's considered a strategic war move in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So he would be protecting the nucleus. So we have already paid Jared Goff, St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, right? That's the big ones you want to do, right? With edge rusher still being your number one target, even with Aiden Hutchinson, I still think you got to maximize, and no one's going to disagree with this, so I don't have to explain myself.
Yeah.
But you're looking for, guys like Maxx Crosby, Danielle Hunter, Josh Allen from not obviously Buffalo, but from the Jaguars, right? So big splash as far as the end goes, because I don't think you're going to get that in the draft, and I don't think he's looking to find that in the draft, right? The draft is still in play, but I think a trade in this pass rush situation becomes a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think that's the direction they're heading in. I don't want to I don't know, but I don't want to play too fast and loose with my Hermdo guarantees. But I think that we're going to see some movement on the defensive side of things. Yeah, definitely. But I don't know. I don't know what else I could really add to that statement. But I think I pretty much just agree with what you're saying. I think we brought up some good points as far as this is concerned. But yeah, it's next season, it's a little bit of a make and break kind of scenario. You got to prove you're not a fluke. You got to prove you can take those next steps. The destiny is in your hands right now, and you got to go out there and take care of business and get people reinvested again. And you got to get that ring, baby. You got to get that ring. We need some hardware for this Lions team, man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we need it, and I keep saying it, but not to switch gears completely, Hermdo, but when it comes to rings, I seriously think the Pistons are in line to be the best opportunity this year at getting one. The NBA All-Star game is being played right now, and in my opinion, having Cade and JD out there has been so reminiscent of watching the going to work Pistons of our days of 2004, right? Of Richard Hamilton and Chauncey Billups or Big Ben and Chauncey, right? That's kind of what this would be right now, point guard and center. I just think to myself how absolutely awesome. Plus JB Bickerstaff is the coach of the East, so how awesome
very
would
cool
it be to see them go from the worst team in the league, not get the first pick the next year, rebound, and already be considering, let's say they win it, right? And they win it. Like, would that not be the quickest turnaround?
That would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. I kind of liken it to, when the Tigers were like worst, like set the record for like most futility back in 2003, and then 3 years later they're in the World Series. It'd be the same kind of thing. Obviously Tigers didn't get a ring that year, unfortunately, but if the Pistons go deep in the playoffs, if the Pistons make it to the finals, that's really a hell of a story. That's an insane thing. These quick turnarounds, and we saw the Pistons just for like 15 years being just mired in mediocrity, and for them just to hit rock bottom only to shoot right back up like a phoenix rising from the ashes. That's a hell of a story.
You go from 2022, 23, dude, they were 17 and 65. 17 wins. Worst record in franchise history. 23-24, their bottom tier rebuild year. Then you've got 24-25, Cade leaps, and then boom, you're a hypothetical contender, right? So that's like a 2 to 3 year jump from cellar to champion. But you would, I asked, of course, our little friend over here, Mike Lavati. So I renamed my AI assistants Mike Lavati. So when I say, how Joe Rogan has Jamie, well, we have Mike Lavati. So if you want me to look something up, just say, ask Mike Lavati, and I will. So I asked Mike Lavati, and it said the fastest NBA turnaround ever were the 2008 Boston Celtics. Now, this is why. You got Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen. Before the title, they were 24 and 58. Next year, 66 wins, champion. So it's a 1 year turnaround on a blockbuster trade. It says 2015 Golden State Warriors. I don't really consider that because that just doesn't count. And then 2022 Golden State Warriors. I don't consider anything turnaround with the Warriors. That's just been a dynasty. So So as far as the NBA is concerned, this would be something that was not blockbuster trade. This is not something that was built out and with Steph Curry and this whole explosion up there. This is something organically built here in Detroit. So how cool is that, right?
It's extremely cool. It's a great story. I mean, Pistons are probably the best story in the league right now. I mean, it's really incredible just how this team's fortunes have changed. And I know the fans are super excited. I'm excited. I'm not even that big of a basketball guy, and I'm watching these games. I'm getting into it. I'm watching Cade and JD and those guys, and look at that. Looking at Bickerstaff's leadership, looking at the front office. Trajan Langdon making some of these very wise, very shrewd moves, and kind of putting together a team that is dominating the East right now. And it's pretty crazy to see. It's pretty crazy, but it does my heart good. I mean, we're entering, we're in a new era of Pistons basketball. You had the bad boys, you had going to work, and now you got Cade and the crew, and I don't know what they're going to call this era Pistons basketball. But the thing is, Pistons, they were mediocre for a while, but this is still a team with multiple championships. They got a championship pedigree, had some great players, great culture in Detroit, a lot of great moments. throughout their history. Pistons are a proud franchise, and it's, it's just now they can be now they're a proud franchise yet again. It was bad. I remember like the days it was like it's Hooper's birthday. They had like nothing to get the fans excited about.
Yeah, dude.
It's all they like retired Dennis Rodman's number and stuff like that. They were just
and you started
running out of ideas.
Bad stuff with Hooper hanging out with Andy Dick, and it just got really weird.
They had the dancing usher and all that shit. Yeah,
you don't want to hear about Hooper and Andy Dick hanging out doing fentanyl together.
God knows what they
he got to become a really name, but I guess this would be called like the Cade Cunningham era, right? It's you could call it the motorcade, the restoration era, the homegrown era. I'm just looking at some of the names that Mike Lavati told us to call it, the new grit era, but we can't call it that, so that's a bad idea, Mike Lavati.
Only so many Detroit sports teams can be gritty.
Yeah, the Cade and Company Championship Core. Cade and Company, I like.
I like that. Yeah.
Going to Work 2.0, Motor City Revival, the Blueprint Pistons, Built Not Bought. So there's some really cool names right now, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, you've got Cade and Company of Chauncey Billups and Isaiah Thomas. So it's a formula that continues to write itself here in the city of Detroit, and I'm eager to be a part of it. Obviously, the Bad Boys, we were young. We were really young for the Bad Boys, still alive. The Going to Work, we were in our high school prime. Like they won our senior year of high school.
Yes.
Back when we were drag racing our muscle cars and singing our doo-wop songs on the corner. It was, to be able to live it and watch it with my son, who's an absolute basketball nut, who's gotten all these signatures, got to meet Cade, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Amir Thompson. We're collecting basketball cards again, which is so cool to see. We went to another card store today and bought some cards, and it's just so cool to see this stuff coming back that it would only be perfectly fit for this to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see. It's good. It's a cultural shift. You can see it, around town. You see people are talking about the Pistons in a positive light again.
Yep.
It's a good. I mean, all Detroit sports are in a pretty good place right now. It's exciting to see this kind of stuff, and it's like attitudes change and people are more positive. There's good storylines around Detroit sports again, especially the Pistons right now. Pistons are probably the best story in Detroit right now, but it's just
Hermdo, you think about it, the Lions Super Bowl window is open, and if this Maxx Crosby trade thing happens or something of that caliber happens, that just solidifies the Super Bowl window open statement even more. And then you've got, like you said, the Pistons championship potential contenders. The East runs through them. But your Tigers, you're wearing a Detroit Tiger hat right now, so I'll pretend like you're Chris Ilitch. You guys it's hard to tell who's who. Made some serious moves that I was not kind of waiting. I just didn't think it, dude. Scott Harris still has me thrown off. I called him Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
I thought he was trying to just completely just blow this team apart and be overly strategic and play Moneyball. But he goes out and gets Valdez. He brings back Verlander, which is a total reunion, homegrown feel, which is not something we thought he was going to do. He makes our rotation scary good right now. But we still got to hit the ball. What do we do from a bat perspective?
Well, you got to look at some of the names out there. Bo Bichette's off the block. I mean, he's off the list. Unfortunately, he's gone with the Mets right now. But I'm looking at, let's take a look at some of the MLB free agent hitters. Let's take a look.
I think that's a big thing I'm going to continue to make a push on is I won't be shy. I won't be impressed until you can get me someone who can hit 260 to 280 next to Riley Green.
Yeah. Call
me a boomer. Call me what you want.
Yeah, we got some people here. Oh, come on. We got, first baseman. Let me think here. You got, Pete Alonso, Josh Naylor, Ryan O'Hearn, Carlos Santana, Luis Arraez, Paul Goldschmidt, Justin Turner, Josh Bell. A lot of these guys are, they're they're I mean, Carlos Santana's 40 years old. Paul Goldschmidt's 38. You got a lot of the guys on the list are pretty old. You got Wilmer Flores, he's 34, but there's a few guys. A lot of these guys are signed and whatever. They signed like short-term deals and whatnot. I don't know if maybe Scott Harris could pry a couple of them off, but I'd say that we probably need some help, like in the middle of the rotation, position-wise. I don't know. You might want to upgrade third baseman. That was the discussion when the Alex Bregman free agency rumors were swirling last year, and that was going on there. I mean, I don't know where Bregman's going to wind up, but yeah, you got Bregman's still out there. He's only 32. You got Eugenio Suarez. You got Paul DeYoung. You got Yoan Moncada. You got Kiki Hernandez, Andy Ibanez. Oh, she's already, yeah. But there's Gio Urshela, who already was a Tiger. There's Jamer Candelario, if you want to have that reunion.
Jose Iglesias,
Son
if
Nick
you want to have
Song,
that reunion.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a few interesting pieces here, a few guys, but a lot of these guys, I mean, it's an older, all these guys are over 30. I mean, when you think of like a young dynamic third baseman, I don't know who really jumps out at you right now.
There's
but
really nobody
as far
left.
as
There's Luis Urias, and that's it. I mean, everybody's literally been locked up. I mean, Suarez is 1-year deal with Cincinnati. Yoan Moncada signed a 1-year deal with the Angels. Why anyone wants to go there?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, you're looking more outfielder that's available, like you said, or just a bunch of right fielders, which are defensive liabilities, and your older kind of designated hitters. So there'll be, of course, plenty of arms still out there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Scott Harris is going to do. I mean, he clearly went all in on the bullpen, but what else is he going to do for the bats, baby? The bats.
Yeah, we got Jason Hayward still out there in right field. You got Max Kepler, Starling Marte, who's 37. There's really kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. Some of those guys can still be plus players, but just as far as like positional stuff goes, but I mean, I'm sure they're set in the outfield and whatnot. I'm just reading some names off, but yeah, I mean that's the thing. You got to add some, maybe make a trade, maybe I don't know. I mean, unless you really think Kevin McGonigal's gonna be the next big thing. I mean, he's tearing it up at AA. He's going into AAA and picking up steam there, but I don't know if he's gonna make the opening day roster. I don't want to make a Hermdo guarantee. I'm such a pussy when it comes to the Hermdo guarantee. I don't want he's gonna be on the. He might start the season in AAA, be down there for like a month or two, and then come up and join the big club. They really got a lot of faith in this kid, though.
They do, but there's also a potential of another rumor of a return of Isaac Padres or whatever. Or is that the fuck did you say?
Isaac Paredes?
Yeah, Paredes. That's
yeah.
what it is. Bringing him back from Houston. Somebody who was here, right? We traded him out. But I think you're right, man. I think if we're going to go from a bat standpoint, it's going to come from a trade. It's not going to be a free agency situation.
Yeah. The free agency is the cupboard's bare in free agency. It's going to have to be a trade. A lot of these guys got locked up already. Man,
why am I so addicted to all these reunions now? Wanting Nick Castellanos, even though I saw he signed.
He got booted out of Philly, and then where did he sign?
Padres.
That's right. Good old Nick Castellanos. He seems so miserable in Cincinnati, or Phillies rather, but he just did not look. He looked aggrieved, unfortunately. But
aggrieved is a nice way of saying it.
Yeah. Let's Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you want them to add a couple impact bats. Probably have to do it, with the trade. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's just this offense. I still like this offense. I still like Riley Green. I still like Spencer Torkelson. I think we got, Colt Keith is up and coming. I still think, Zach McKinstry, he can hit. He can make good contact. We got, guys. Our catcher, young guy. What was his name again? Shit.
Dylan Dinkler.
Dylan Dinkler. Yes, Dylan Dinkler. He's got a lot of offensive upside. But, you kind of saw how dangerous this offense was for the first part of the season. And then they kind of really fell off a cliff, especially the last month. And so you want like a little bit of reassurance is there in the middle of the lineup, because they're just parts of the season where these guys just were not hitting, and they wasted a lot of good starts from the starting rotation. They wasted a lot of good bullpen performances too, and they just could not get anybody across the plate. But so you want to see a little bit of a offensive upgrade from the Tigers. Obviously, I mean, every team wants that, but yeah, let's see if I don't know what kind of bats they would be adding. I'm not sure at the rumor mill. I mean, Isaac Paredes, that's a new one on me, but yeah, I mean, the rotation is scary good. I don't know how American League pitching or hitting is going to be able to handle this rotation when you got Tarek Skubal, you got Framber Valdez, you got Casey Mize, you got Jack Flaherty, you got Justin Verlander kind of playing the Kenny Rogers role, kind of the gruff veteran coming here to lead the young crew. But yeah, I mean, I think Tigers pitching is not really what I'm worried about, but it's just, and there have been moments where we've seen some of the Tigers rotations in the past. I mean, like we had Verlander and Scherzer and David Price and Rick Porcello on this team, and then sometimes the offense would just kind of shut down or whatever. But that's kind of been like a theme for the Tigers since like their championship contending days, and now they're getting back into those days, and hopefully the team can be more well-balanced. I don't know. I mean, the offense is a little bit of a concern, though. I mean, consistency especially. But, yeah, we're going to see – it's a new-look Tigers. They're spending the money now. They have a top 10 payroll now. They jumped like 8-9 spots. They're the team is making about the team payroll is about $240 million now, which is the highest I think it's ever been. Yeah, when you think about especially some of the rosters we had back in the early 2010s, but it's kind of crazy to think about. But I still like this Tigers team. I like them a lot. I think they can do real damage in the AL. I think I am gonna put a Hermdo guarantee out there. I think the Hermdo guarantee is that the Detroit Tigers win the division and win it decisively this year, like they should have done it last year. But this year they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. And because this division's a joke. Minnesota, none of these teams spend money. Cleveland, I mean, they're pretty much just a one-man team.
Cleveland's trash.
Minnesota, yeah, Cleveland's trash. The Kansas City, they just can't get out of their own way. The White Sox are a national embarrassment. Minnesota just fired Rocco Baldelli. They got nothing. It's just Minnesota's just been a dumpster fire, and the Tigers are the class of that division. But I mean, the Guardians can still be a little dangerous. I didn't call them the Indians this time. I deserve credit for that. But yeah, I think I mean it just. Cleveland, they hang around. They hang around, but they do a lot with a little. I'll give them that. They got a good manager there in Cleveland, but yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing them as any kind of a threat really. But the Tigers, this is the year to. This is, we're expecting rings now, baby. We're expecting rings, because remember the run up. 06 was kind of a crazy fluke, and then next couple of years, they add like Miguel Cabrera. They get a lot of pieces in there, and they kind of were mediocre for a few years there between like 2006 and 2011. But that they started putting the pieces together. They started getting the offense and the pitching rolling. You got the Jim Leland, getting them back into the playoffs, winning divisions for like 4 years in a row. So can we repeat that kind of success under the AJ Hinch has still not won the division for the Tigers yet, but.
Well, it's funny you say that because I asked Mike Lavati, I said, what does this team remind you of comparable?
Yeah.
And the first one came up was the 2006 Detroit Tigers, right? So
yeah,
young electric arm surprising the league. Team arrives ahead of schedule. Mix of veterans plus emerging stars. Ironically, Verlander was the rising star pitcher. Now he was playing the Kenny Rogers, which I think is awesome. The parallel is great.
Yep.
Nobody picked him in March, and suddenly they're there in October. But it just kind of really seems like it. And then it brought up Joel Zumaya, and I just like it. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, Joel Zumaya.
Compared it to the 2015 Kansas City Royals, man, dude, that bullpen was scary good.
Yes, it was
scary good.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's it's a changing season for like Detroit sports teams. I think we got some real title contenders in town. It's very exciting right now. Tigers. I mean, I'm looking forward to baseball already. I mean, we've had pitchers and catchers reporting for the last couple of weeks. It's that timing. Weather's getting warmer. People are going to be out there in their shorts and flip flops soon. We're going to have Tigers on TV. I'm looking forward to another good season. Maybe Tigers can clear that hump finally. And put together. I don't. Could they get close to like 100 wins? I'd be like, could they be like a legitimate team where maybe they were a little bit of a pretender last year, but they got to add a couple pieces here and there, but they need some fine tuning still. But this is still a very dangerous roster. I think the sky's the limit for this team, and I do like the direction they're heading in. Obviously, but now it's like when you see like the 2011 team, they got to the ALCS and they lost against the Rangers, and that was kind of like 2011 was kind of a surprising year, because the Tigers kind of, they had been good. They had good rosters and they had some good players, but they never really were able to recapture that 06 magic. Then they find their way back into the postseason in 2011. They lose to the Rangers, unfortunately, but it was that year. And after that year, 2012, they had Prince Fielder, but it was just like now the expectation changes. Now it's just like it was a fun story, but now we have actual expectations for this team now, and we see the Tigers heading back in that direction again. Now it's just like, okay, you were a cute story in 24, 25, you look dangerous, but you kind of fell on your face in the end. But now you've made some key free agency additions to your starting rotation, and you still got one of the best managers in the league, and in a dog shit division. But now it's the time to, the expectations are a ring again. Now the championship window is still open. We still got our destiny ahead of us. But this is the Tigers. This could be a really excellent year for the Tigers. I think they could do something special this year. So
I agree. And based all off the start of that rotation, we have a whole young core arriving, which you've been preaching for the last couple of years of Kevin McGonigal, right?
Yep.
The payroll flexibility that we have, this whole spending thing is relatively new again.
Yep.
And then the MLB playoff format favors hot pitching, so we know that's a big thing. So 2 to 4 year window right now for the Tigers. If it looks like, I think really if they win right now, it's going to be the rotation gets hot, the lineup matures at the same time. And that's going to be the added bonus, right? Because you can go out and purchase pitching, playoff pitching. We've seen teams do it, right? All the greats do it. But you need to have that core offense that hopefully you have the time to have some homegrown time for that offense.
Yeah, they're still really young. That's the thing.
If Max Clark and Kevin McGonigal and all these guys pan out the way they're supposed to, then all you're going to ever be doing is going to throw big money at arms and rotational bats. So
you can add some luxury pieces here and there.
Yep.
Because you got your core locked up. But
agree.
Yeah, I'm liking the way the Tigers are built. I think there's a lot of homegrown talent in these Detroit sports teams. Not a lot of really big free agency additions. Not really a lot of big names. But we saw but that's the case with the Tigers now. I mean, Framber Valdez was a pretty big get. Really dominant lefty from the Astros. But Justin Verlander, that's still a big name. I know he's 43, but so we're playing with some. We're cooking with gas now. I mean, now we're getting serious.
Sent a message. It really did. It's that perfect timing. And I'm telling you, similar to the Verlander playing the Kenny Rogers role, Maxx Crosby coming over to Detroit is the Stafford trade role, where we basically kind of said we're going to sacrifice a little bit and give it to LA. And I think Vegas does that right back to us. The only difference is Vegas is going to, if we give them all the picks and everything, like I said, they'll stumble on it. They'll somehow pay. What's hilarious about all these Vegas stories is you get like John Gruden, and he talks about how awesome it was working for Al Davis, but that's about the only thing you ever hear positive of the Raiders. It just seems like it was just such an abysmally ran program and franchise, from the Jamarcus Russell era to Warren Sapp stories of when he played there. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, man. It's like you look at some of these vets and you're just, especially in that era where guys like Warren Sapp, those contracts weren't getting handed out all the time. So he had to go and play with LA or wherever they were at the time. But yeah, it's got to suck being on those teams. But again, you're getting paid millions. So millions and memories.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, who gives a shit, right?
Who gives a shit?
At the end of the day, it's really just...
It's morphin' time! It's morphin' time!
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is morphin' time.
It is morphin' time. With that being said, sir,
yes.
What else you got to talk about, Hermdo? Anything good?
Watching some Olympic hockey. I watched Team USA put on a clinic and beat, I believe it was Norway 6-3. It was kind of hairy for the first like period and a half. I mean, Norway had a 2-1 lead, and then the scoring just came in bunches. You saw, the Kachucks. I mean, Keith Kachuk and not Keith Kachuk. I'm sorry, Brady Kachuk and Matthew Kachuk. Those two big goons. They really taken a leadership role on this team, and they're really showing the other nations how it's done. So it's very exciting stuff to see. I like seeing hockey on the big stage, getting a lot of positive coverage. Obviously Team Canada. I haven't checked the scores today though, but let me take one quick look. I think yeah. United States beat Germany. That's in the men's tournament. Yeah. Yeah, they beat. They didn't. They played Denmark. I'm sorry, they played Denmark. But yeah, let's take a look at some of this stuff. United States continued its undefeated run through the preliminary round of 2026 Winter Olympics men's ice hockey tournament, winning 5-1 over Germany. Victory gives the U.S. 9 points, top spot in Group C, and a second overall seed, which clinches a place in the quarterfinals. The team will square off against the winner of Sweden-Latvia, which will be played Tuesday. Captain Austin Matthews led the way in this win with 2 goals. He was joined in the goal-scoring club by Tage Thompson, Brock Faber, and Zach Wierenski. Here are the key lessons in this preliminary game. Okay, and really no points of concern, I think they're really a solidly built team. Obviously, you have the best American hockey players in there. It'll be interesting, seeing Team Canada and Team America go at it. If that
isn't that what it comes
happens
down to?
That's going to be an interesting little, storyline there. Yeah, because this obviously Canada team is stacked. You got some incredible guys on that team, but looking forward, I really like what I'm seeing from this, Team America in a way, and we're going to be seeing. Sweden and Latvia, I got to believe that Sweden's probably going to take that. But, Lucas Raymond's on Team Sweden right now, so we'll probably be seeing some of him. More excited was on Team Germany. Unfortunately, they lost, but it's still the preliminary stages. It's like a lot of hockey to play. But, yeah, I mean, it's always fun, getting hockey kind of being discussed on the national stage. It's kind of – people still see hockey as kind of a niche sport. The NHL is kind of just not as beloved as other leagues. But, you really see the best of the best. It's really exciting stuff. I'm not a big Olympics guy, but I am a big hockey guy, so I'm enjoying watching. I'll probably do some reporting on that for you. I'll make some videos about Team America, Team USA rather. Team America. Fuck yeah. I lick my butt and suck on my balls. Okay. That got me good. But
I don't know.
Hell yes. Very exciting stuff. But yeah, go Team USA, make US hockey proud. We gotta take over, the being the dominant hockey country from Canada one of these days, because fuck Canada, fuck all those goons on Team Canada.
Yeah. Canada's just
you are fake news.
Yes, they are. They are fake news.
That's it. That's
they
are. They wish they were the 51st state. They sorry, Wayne. I'm sorry, but you guys absolutely love everything about the United States. You wish you were us. You wish you were us.
Yep. But NHL hockey resumes. I think the Wings' next game is February 26th. So we still got a lot of hockey to watch as far as Olympics goes. But Wings season starts up in about 10 days or so, 10, 11 days. and we'll see how they can finish the season up because it looked like they were like struggling a little bit the last couple weeks. But yeah, we'll see. Dylan Larkin on Team USA, he could bring home the gold. That'd be great. That'd be a good thing for our buddy Larks. Get some hardware in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I know I love saying that, and I'm saying it again. We'll see how it goes.
I keep telling myself I need to make a Hermdo Will See shirt. We'll see with your face on it. Speaking of that, if you haven't and you're still listening, go over to the fourth wall. I am going to be redoing all of the fan forum gear. A lot of you have noticed that I've got the fan forum hoodies and the fan forum hat that I've worn. Hitch has got some gear. I know Bob's got some gear. But now that this show's kind of evolved past just the Lions, I'm going to wipe out all the shit on there. The stuff I don't really like that nobody ever bought, and make some new stuff. So I want to make some new fan forum clothes. So Hermdo, you got to let me know, give me some ideas, tell me something that you would wear logo wise, what you think we should put, because it's real easy to piece together. But yeah, give me some creative input because I want a big line. What's that?
Yes. I want a Speedo with my face right on the crotch. I think
I can make
Detroit
that happen.
Fan Forum. Yes, the official Speedo of the Detroit Fan Forum. But
I'm definitely going to do a Hermdo guarantee hoodie, a Hermdo guarantee line.
Yes.
I think we'll do Where in the World is Hitch one. He's still actually in the waiting room. I keep forgetting to bring him in. Sorry. Give me 5 more minutes, Hitch, and we'll bring you in. Thanks for holding on. It's been a while. So I think we're gonna come up with do a Hermdo guarantee mug, but think of some stuff you want and I'll make it happen. Whether it's like Red Wings related, Tigers related.
Sure. Let me brainstorm some stuff and I'll get back to you. But
okay, cool.
That sounds good to me, man. I mean, I could use some more merch. I could always use some branded stuff with something personal. I mean, that'd be cool to have like a piece of merch from a show I'm actually on, and
I think it would be cool.
My face or my catchphrases on their body, which I think would be very cool. So
I definitely want to be able to buy and build up a collection of shirts that we can hand out. So whether that be, if I'm somewhere at a Lions game, I just hand out a bunch of fan forum T-shirts or a bunch of Hermdo guarantee shirts. And it will be funny to see as, we're walking around Gibraltar Trade Center and we see, a bunch of guys in fan forum gear. We can say, hey, we made it down here, downriver.
Yeah. That'd be very cool. That'd be excellent, make our impact on the culture. Definitely.
Yeah. I think we should do a Hillary Clinton as a reptilian line too.
I think that would be great.
Springwear. So
that would be great.
Yeah. I not to get off topic, but have you fully digested everything in those released files that Joffrey Plepstein was involved in, or have you fully digested that?
I've been looking over a couple of them. I haven't spent too much time on it. I haven't really been making too much content lately, if you couldn't tell, but I've kind of divorcing myself from politics for a little bit. A lot of stuff I have been reading. I've been watching a few videos about it. Seen some discussion about it online. It seems there's a lot of fucked up shit in there. There's a lot of this Jeffrey Epstein guy. He was up to no good. I can tell you that much. But
he was a clear knucklehead.
He really was a goofball. He was a silly goose.
No good. Yeah, definitely silly goose.
Yeah, he was a little out there to say the least. And then some of Trump's involvement. A lot of people still defending Trump, which doesn't surprise me. The guy literally could eat a child on Fifth Avenue, and his people would still support him. But
I thought it was interesting. Obama was at the All-Star game tonight, and he just looked fucking roasted. Like he didn't look.
Yeah, he did.
Like he was there, and he just couldn't talk. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, if you're one of those ball guys, you kind of look like your eyes are just shot black. It just gets you wondering and thinking now. These people, I just kind of
he needs adrenochrome.
That if he runs out, he's gonna have to do what Ellen does and leave.
Yeah.
Right. So we have.
He needs some pizza
still. That's the most effed up part, dude.
Yeah.
is just how all of that continues to play together, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I keep sending people down certain rabbit holes, but like you look at Isaac Cappy, if you ever looked up any of his videos, and a lot of this stuff reigns right back into what he said, and it's like, whoa, shit, David Icke was right. I mean, I can't tell you how many videos I've watched where they just say David Icke was right, and I'm just like, shit.
That's some wild shit, man.
Right more than he was wrong. So
all the conspiracy guys, all the conspiracy guys.
Maxwell basically had all of our textbooks.
I know. I mean, they were involved in everything. I mean, they were talking about like modding on Reddit. I mean, just letting Maxwell was like he was a Reddit mod or some shit like that. And Jeffrey Epstein was talking to the founder of 4chan, and there's all this kind of stuff. They talked about putting microtransactions in video games and all this goofy stuff. But it's just like all the conspiracy guys have their worldviews validated like beyond belief. It's absolutely crazy how right a lot of these guys were. A lot of guys you kind of just blew off a little bit to like whatever you say, buddy. But it's just it's totally insane what's been going on here. And we see other countries like some people. I think in Norway they deposed a guy. And in other countries, people are getting arrested and stuff. But we'll see what happens in America because we do love our reptilian elites in America. So hopefully some people will get
reptilians.
Yeah, hopefully some people will get led away in cuffs. We'll see. We'll see what happens there with Trump's Department of Justice. You got that Pam Bondi. I don't know if you saw that Pam Bondi hearing. She absolutely crashed out talking about like the Dow when they're like, hey, did you have any knowledge about these pedophiles on this island? Were they trafficking people? She's just like, who cares? The Dow is 50,000. It's just like, are you fucking serious, bitch?
That's what I'm saying.
Holy shit. I couldn't believe that. My jaw was on the floor. I'm just like, I don't know what to make of that. It's so cartoonish and insane. I mean, that's just the American. I mean, if somebody from some foreign guy asks you what it's like to live in America, well, like the American government's like, just play them that video of this Pam Bondi flipping out and shrieking, like refusing to answer questions about this elite financier and human trafficker involved with all these American politicians and celebrities. Just like, what are we doing here in this country, man? It's absolutely insane. But I don't know. I mean, there's all sorts of reactions from it. You get right-wing, left-wing reactions to it. People are jumping up and down and freaking out. And, it's just like, I think, trust in American institutions is already at like a generational low. So this is really not helping the cause. I think a lot more people are going to be really distrustful now. And I think we're going to see some crazy stuff happening. I think a lot of people might take justice into their own hands. We might have a couple of Mangione situations happening. I don't know, man. But Americans just had enough. We've had enough. And this whole thing.
It's what's been going on, I think, for the last 120 years. That we're
just about
to see and go, ooh, interesting how all this kind of falls out. So you're right.
Yep.
Spielberg's got a new movie coming out called The Age of Disclosure, and that's kind of what I think all this is behind, is a lot of big private tech whores that truly they all have an idea of how to harness and use, but they don't have the ability to get patents on because everything's considered a state secret, with it being all considered nuclear. It's going to be really interesting to see how we leak a lot of the future tech stuff out, because I was listening today, and again, David Icke brought up the conversation. He said, now, if this was 15 to 20 years ago, if this was 20 years ago, and I was talking to you about like sitting in a room where there's open waves of information that's streaming through that we can go right into a device. Essentially, if I explained Wi-Fi to you 20 years ago, you tell me I was fucking nuts, right? Now, if I explained it to you now, you would say, oh yeah, it's Wi-Fi, right? And he goes, that really just comes down to the education piece. So I think the more people educate themselves on this stuff and not hide away from it, right? And that's why you say conspiracy. That term was invented by the CIA to really take something that sounded a little too scary. And if you say conspiracy, it puts it in a closet and locks it away. And now it's unbelievable, right? So we've been programmed to think that. So if you take that concept out, or you go, okay, everything they told me was a fucking lie, there was a conspiracy. Let's fact check it. You're going to start to try to put pieces together and make sense of it. Now, is everything true? No, but you start to see patterns. You start to see these reoccurring themes, and then you start to see the cause and effect, and then you just happen to see what's going on right now, and you think to myself, this is a little crazy. Okay, so we make jokes about it. A lot of jokes, obviously, but and then you've got Alex Jones out there going,
yes, like, Obama is the Antichrist.
Saying shit like that. But it's like
he was talking about. Yeah, there was some new controversy with him. He was talking about like how all these other files got released and all this stuff, and it's just like, no, they didn't. They didn't release anything else. They didn't release. No. He's like, they just released 3 million more unredacted files, and he's like, no, they didn't. Alex, you're full of shit, man. So he's being goofy too. He's had his crash outs. Yeah,
he's had his crash outs, and I think this confirms of guys like him, or he might just be a actual construct, right? We said Hitch is a social construct, right? Like you've got your real dudes like your David Ikes that are serious, and your Alex Jones who are just the cartoon characters that, of course, if he says something and it becomes true, then he's going to go on to the next thing. And it's just like he is the CIA or the Mossad's. I mean, look at him. He's all beefed up now on steroids and TRT, chain smoking. He is whatever we are almost intimidated and annoyed by, and that's just his design. So he stands for nothing. He's an interesting, loud voice to listen to from far away.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's kind of just, I mean, some of the stuff he says does turn out to be true. I always found to be a very entertaining guy, but sometimes just like, you got to just be like, Alex, you got to dial it back a step, man.
Exactly. He credits himself with the whole I got 9/11 right, but he was not the only one back then to start calling that shit out. So now as you go back and listen, it's like, okay, you were echoing some things back then that, of course, maybe if you said it, actually people believed less of it. So, I mean, he'll always be something to me is like the ultimate warrior, right? In wrestling. Awesome running, crazy high entry running, awful wrestler, great entertainer, doesn't really go any farther, can be recycled a few times. And he was just whatever. Okay, funny. Part of it needed to be there, but not crucially one of my favorite wrestlers. And Alex Jones is just Alex Jones.
Alex Jones is Alex Jones. That's what he is at the end of the day. He's a character. I'm sure he believes some of it, but there's a lot of like the Hollywood kind of glamorization. There's a lot of the hyperbole, a lot of the craziness. A lot of it's probably manufactured. Some of it's, to borrow a wrestling phrase, kayfabe. Mm-hmm. But I gotta believe like Alex believes in some of his stuff. But I mean, he's just so over the top sometimes. Just like you kind of ruining the credibility of some of these conspiracies. But I don't know. I mean, it's been entertaining. Then you got like the David Ikes and whatnot. You got the guys that take it more seriously. There's a lot of guys. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy named Ian Carroll. He's this dude. He's got a pretty big YouTube channel. He's big on Twitter, but he's one of those conspiracy guys. He was, I was covering Candace Owens for a while and some of her whack job conspiracies about Charlie Kirk and TPUSA, and his name kept coming up. So he's a big name in there too, and he's talking about the Epstein files too. It's a big thing, man. This thing is, I hope it's not. I mean, America, you see a lot of these outrages happen, a lot of these scandals happen, a lot of this drama happens, and Americans have like the memories of goldfish. It's just like it's in the news cycle for a couple days, maybe a week, and then we just forget about it, and then we just move on to something else. But this Epstein thing, it's been around since before the pandemic. It's been around. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was first arrested in like 2008. Mm-hmm. He killed himself in 2019. So I mean. But it's been a big thing, and it's been personally, I think the Democrats. One thing I didn't like about the Biden administration was they didn't really press these Epstein files very hard, and that could have been a good attack vector against Trump, being like, hey, what the fuck are these guys doing on that island there? Regardless of how you feel about Trump, I'm the biggest fan of the guy, but yeah,
I'll tell you what, if you really want to take one thing away from this little file exposure, is that there is no them or Republicans and Democrats. It's literally just people that play on a whole different level than us.
Yep.
Literally live on this completely different platform that if any of them decides to step off, they're completely destroyed and eliminated. But if they want to play up here with the whatever that is, that there is no them, and there is no Republican and Democrat anymore. That's shattered.
No.
Kayfabe was broke in the wrestling, right? It's no
Yeah.
different to me. It's completely broken. So it's just you can run on whatever platform you want. You can say you're who you are, but if you look back now at everything we're seeing, the truth is they're just up there playing on a whole different playing field,
Yeah.
making a lot of different money. They can call themselves whatever they want, but they're all
Mhm.
living the same lifestyle, right? They're all
Yeah.
still visiting the same islands. They're all still eating at the same restaurants. They're all still flying private. They're all still
Yeah.
trying to build generational wealth. They'll all still have $1 million book deals. They're all going to be, and in all their, uh, all of their political agendas are all pretty
Yeah.
much the same at the end of the day. They've
Mhm.
all taken a chance to overthrow multiple governments and coups. Like it's literally the same playbook. It's just what did they sell you on arguing on TV? Because you want to
Yeah.
talk about somebody like Obama, dude. Dude, he's a gangster when it came to the CIA and
Oh,
bombing
yeah.
people and overthrowing governments. But he was just as gangster as W. And they're all buddies. They're all
Yeah.
at the end, like I keep saying it, man, but it's just how it works. So if you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's a
get
big
hung up on
club
this
and you ain't
party
in it.
system, exactly. So don't get hung up on this party shit anymore. You really have
Yeah.
to start just looking at people from what do they benefit from and what club are they in, right? And we know
Yeah.
they're not in our club and they're not in the fan forum club. So
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly. Yeah, it's just it really the divides have become very obvious in the last few years,
Yep.
and especially like under Trump and under like the resistance to him and like some of his ways of kind of challenging convention, at least back 10 years ago and whatnot. But now we really see the ruling class for what they are, and some of the stuff they get up to and some of the agendas that they try pushing forward and forcing on people and whatnot. And it's just like you get a real sense, I've kind of put away some of my preconceived notions. I had some bigotry, I had some prejudices before about directed at certain people. And I just, there was like, I felt like, maybe I couldn't get along with some people and that and stuff like that. But, I put those notions aside. I'm thinking to myself now, it's just like, black, white, gay, straight, Jewish, Muslim, whatever. I think that, the people in charge got it out for us. I think we're all equally fucked under this system, honestly. And it's just like, I think we got to put a lot of this stuff aside, a lot of this culture war bullshit aside, a lot of this woke stuff, a lot of this right wing stuff. We got to
built online. If you're out there living the world, you're not dealing with this. If you're only fighting online about this shit.
Yeah.
So,
but we deal with it every day. We deal with it every day. But
someone's trying
Crosby
to bring us
to the
back
Chicago
on.
Bears.
Get
oh
the
God!
Fuck out of here! No one's going to the Chicago Bears.
No.
Jesus Christ.
No. Boo.
One dead pride. Jesus. Listen, Frank Rizzo.
Oh wow.
Chicago.
We got some haters in the chat.
Dude, are you kidding me? Listen, Chicago, you're about to be in for a real big shitstorm. Your strength of schedule just quadrupled, and that's the first time that's happened with a brand new coach and a quarterback who they're going to get to that motherfucker next season.
Yes, they will.
Tell you that right now.
Yes, they will.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Ouch.
Jesus Christ. Exactly. Nobody cares about the fucking Bears. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, so we're getting some pretty aggressive comments in here.
People are bad. People are bad.
People are
because these are the global elites. That's a Jeffrey Epstein sock account. He's still alive. he's in Israel. He's still alive. He's just like, I can't have these goyim telling these stories about me.
Exactly. He's pissed. All right.
Oh Lord.
My God. You know what? Whoever. If you're commenting, just like and subscribe, please. That's
all
I
you
ask.
Jerk.
Yeah, just don't report us. But
we're all about love here at the Fan Forum. Don't bring your negativity in here.
Yeah, keep that out of here. Jesus.
Yeah.
Crosby to the Chicago Bears. Oh, that is going to be nice to see not the downfall. They're going to be a good team, but just Christ, dude.
Yeah.
You peaked hard this year, and you had a lot of fun this season. Ben Johnson's not going to take his shirt off after every game. And like I said, strength of schedule is going to get real hard. They're going to expose Caleb Williams because it's not just going to be every comeback. Every game is not going to be a comeback game.
You got lucky a bunch of times, but
Exactly.
I think they're in for a reality check.
Well, Hermdo,
Yep.
I think it's time to wrap it up here.
Okay.
We've had a nice hour and 20 minutes of beautiful, I think, conversation.
Yes.
Like and subscribe. Thank you, everybody who's watched tonight. Appreciate everybody who hasn't watched tonight that's eventually about to watch, because this episode's going to go viral. We've covered it all. We've covered the Lions, the Tigers. We've covered the Red Wings. We've covered the Pistons. We got into the Blepstein files. We got into like everything and anything out there that existed. So, oh crap, that's right. I forgot. We were supposed to bring Hitch on. Hitch, sorry, you're gonna have to wait till next episode. You've been sitting patiently in the lobby. I feel bad. Can only imagine how many cigarettes you've smoked. But we're gonna get to you next week, buddy. I promise. Hermdo, you got anything else to say?
No. Go Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons, and prosecute the pedo cabal. That's what I got to say.
All right. Peace.
Peace out, man.